Sal. We're back at the Firecracker 400, working the 135th lap under yellow, but scheduled to come back to green very shortly. Ken Schrader leads the race, followed by Elliott, Wilson, Shepard, Dale Earnhardt. There are 8 cars currently on the leader lap. Buddy Baker in 7th, Phil Parsons running in 8th, and then Lake Speed is 1 lap behind the leader, followed by Greg Sachs. 135 laps being completed now, 8 different leaders. And, of course, the race average with the cautions is slowed down to 164 miles an hour. So Ken Schrader eyes the green flag. Green flag is out. Earnhardt makes a move, back running in 5th place right now as he tries to work his way up to the front. Bill Elliott runs in 2nd, but eyes on the number 3 car, that black machine of Earnhardt, as he pulls up behind Rick Wilson and tries to find some racing room on the high side.
This is where you definitely want to get in that line, Paul. You can't get caught down low because the outside line will drive away from you. So you have to find a niche in there, move in, and then start working your strategy.
And Schrader, the Chevrolet. By the way, the car that he drives was a car that served Tim Richmond very well, winning the '86 Firecracker in that same automobile. The number 25 car, the number 9 Ford of Elliott just behind as Elliott closes up. Then Rick Wilson, the yellow number 4, is actually the car running in 3rd, but the challenge for 3rd is with Dale Earnhardt down on the inside. Earnhardt running alone, no draft to his advantage here.
Well, that is amazing that Bill Elliott has come from 38th spot, running in 2nd. So smooth, so quiet. That's just kind of the way Dollar Bill does it. He just moves in there and asserts himself.
1st and 2nd, Schrader, Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt continues his challenge with Rick Wilson for 3rd place. Wilson has 3rd at the moment.
This is really dicey running because you have all of the cars lined up very close together. The air is all but clean. It's making your car buffet around and bump around, so you've got to be very cautious so you can recognize any part of the car, anything that gets out of shape. And, you know, you're running in there, you don't know for sure because it's bumping around so hard. And this is the time when you have to make all of the shots count.
First is Schrader, followed by Elliott. Interestingly, the 2 leaders are running just over 189 miles an hour. Interesting because Bill Elliott qualified at 184 miles an hour. So at this moment, as Elliott goes for the lead, he is actually racing 5 miles an hour faster than he qualified. And Elliott, followed by Wilson now. As Elliott pulls Wilson up into 2nd place, Elliott takes the lead.
There was a chance where they hooked up together. Rick Wilson has been running strong all day. We have watched him a number of times move out into the lead and get out by himself and just run alone. So he got in behind Elliott and kind of pushed, I'm sure, and went right on by. And looked like they're hooked up, making a little daylight.
Earnhardt tried to run alone. It didn't work for him, as now Earnhardt drops back into the pack. And Elliott sits out at the front of the field. Then Rick Wilson and Darrell Waltrip makes his move up and picks up 3rd spot in that battle with Earnhardt as Earnhardt drops backwards.
I think Darrell Waltrip might be the sleeper here. He's been running extremely well all day. He's been staying right there in striking position. So now we'll see. He'll hold this position, I'm sure, and make his move when it counts.
There was an indication at one point that Darrell Waltrip would try and play the tactical game and hopefully go further on his tank of gas than anybody else, and then he made a stop right in schedule with everyone else. So if that was the game plan, it looks like they pitched it out the window. Nevertheless, there is no factor with fuel now. It is a run to the finish of this race with 138 laps complete. First is Bill Elliott, then Wilson, and then Darrell Waltrip.
This group of cars is very evenly matched. I would have thought at this point that Dale Earnhardt might have pushed his way up to the front a little bit. But here again, the restrictor plate comes into play, and you can see that everyone is kind of settling down, feeling their way around. They don't want to move out of that line and shuffle back, so they've got to hold on until it counts.
Darrell Waltrip currently running in 3rd place. Said at the beginning of the day that if he has a routine day, then he'll win the race. So a confident Darrell Waltrip runs in 3rd place right now. As you look at his number 17 car, that's the 25 car of Schrader that's receiving the challenge by Earnhardt. And look at Earnhardt as he pulls up alongside Schrader, past Waltrip, and into 3rd place.
Well, so much for my guess about Earnhardt. There he goes. He's set back there and figured out his plan of attack. Figured the weaknesses, moved up, and now he's going to put himself into position to be in the right place at the right time.
So Earnhardt in a Chevrolet that has proven to be very, very strong, running alone, now moves into 3rd place, and behind Rick Wilson, the leader of the race, is Bill Elliott with just 20 laps to go. We'll be back with more after this. We're back at the Firecracker 400. 145 laps are now complete. Bill Elliott is out in front, a man who has twice won the Daytona 500 on this very track. He's been chased by a man who has never won, Rick Wilson. As we take a look at the top of the order, the top 8 cars are all running on the leader lap. And there you see the number 9 car of Elliott leading. In third place now is Dale Earnhardt in number 3 as he's moved his way around Darrell Waltrip, and now Phil Parsons fights with Waltrip for 4th place. The fight on the course is at 4th position. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd running a string.
There you can see Phil Parsons making his move, not quite getting by. He needs help from that guy behind him to kind of push him on by Waltrip. But now they're going to start getting into their positions. The stage is set. They have to move into the right position to be able to go for it. With the restrictor plate, that's not very easy because you can only gain inches at a time.
Ken Schrader sits up right behind Parsons. With that restrictor plate, the script would have been that one waits until the absolute last moment, the last corner of the last lap, and then darts out of the draft and moves past the car in front of him. But you don't have that kind of power anymore, so you've got to get up and get into position early and decide where you're going to make your roll.
I think that's why, Paul, we've seen Bill Elliott make his moves. He might have done the right thing and just making the moves, getting to the front, taking advantage while everyone else was kind of thinking about what they were going to do. He moved out there, and he might well stay there till the end.
Bill Elliott wins this year, looking for a win here in the Firecracker. 2 wins at Daytona, 25 in his history with the Winston Cup. And keep in mind that Rusty Wallace still runs back in mid-pack, but still has the points lead at this point. Dale Earnhardt would love to get up into the front of the field. Wallace is 14th. Earnhardt is running in 3rd place right now. And whoever has the most points among those 2 men at the conclusion of this race will be $150,000 richer. Bill Elliott, number 9, is Ford out in front. Rick Wilson, the Oldsmobile, runs in 2nd. Earnhardt, a Chevrolet, runs in 3rd. And there you see Waltrip, another Chevy, sitting just back and forth.
Bill Parsons has stopped his attack on Waltrip. He's kind of moved into the line, waiting to see what will develop. Because, like I say, at this point, inches is all you can gain with the restrictor plate. The car, it's very exasperating because you sit out there running in that line, and you've got to wait for the right moment. Wait till someone slips or something happens to start a chain reaction down the line to where the guy just cracks the throttle back. When he does, you can take advantage of him. But right now, that is a stalemate.
I'll tell you what, on board that 2nd place car, Rick Wilson has to be a very happy man at the moment, despite the fact that he's not in the lead. He is in striking position, and he has never been this far up toward the end of a race. His best finish has been 7th 3 times. Now, with 10 laps to go, he's sitting there in 2nd place. He's got to be happy with his position. But the key position at this race is, of course, Bill Elliott, number 9, out in front. Wilson is 2nd, Earnhardt is 3rd. We'll be back with more after this. We're back at the Firecracker with just over 4 laps to go. Now they come across the stripe. 4 laps to the finish of this 400-mile run. In first is Bill Elliott. Rick Wilson sits in second. Dale Earnhardt and then Darrell Waltrip. But Earnhardt and Waltrip are taking a hard look at how to get past the first 2 place cars. And they're hooked up, and they've been working together.
Yes, we've seen Elliott move down low to the bottom and Waltrip move in right behind him, so they may be thinking of a draft situation to try to push each other or take each other by the lead 2 cars, which is going to be a tough job because Elliott is certainly showing more than he has all weekend as far as practice and qualifying. Came from 38th starting spot and is now leading this thing, and Rick Wilson is putting his best ever show together.
Earnhardt's tried that move several times in the past few laps where he drops out of the line all the way down to the low side. Johnny, is he testing to see what he can do on perhaps the last lap?
I think he wants to see if his car will stick down there, and he's showing Waltrip that it will. So he may be issuing an invitation to Darrell, come on, let's see if we can go by these guys. So it'll bear watching.
That's Phil Parsons, the number 55 car that runs in 5th place right now. Rick Wilson is glued right on the back bumper of the leader, Bill Elliott. Wilson, with 10 laps to go last year, was in this position, 2nd place, but then crashes in the final lap took Wilson out of the running. I'm sure that's going through his mind as well as he chases Bill Elliott. Again, Dale Earnhardt comes down on the inside and takes a look at running in the low groove.
We can see Darrell has dropped back a little bit there, but I don't think it's any problem. He's just kind of coasting, seeing where he'll fit in. They may be getting ready to make their move. They're going to have to do something here if they're going to pretty quick.
4 times in history, the lead has changed on the last lap at the Firecracker. Will it happen again this year? Elliott has run a good race, and of course he has victories here on this track. So Bill Elliott out in front with the help of Rick Wilson. Elliott started 38, now runs in 1st place, and is he looking at a win in the Firecracker? Well, the spoiler could be the combination of Earnhardt and Waltrip, as here comes Earnhardt in 3rd place, car number 3, down on the inside once again. And again, Waltrip lays back just a bit and stays out of that pull. Out in front, Rick Wilson, look at him. He maneuvers right behind Bill Elliott.
I think he's going to have to stay right there if he has a chance. White flag is out, 1 more lap, so now's the time, the last lap. If anybody's going to do anything, this is when it'll happen.
The guesswork is over. Wilson moves down out of his more familiar position of directly behind Elliott, tries a little bit on the low side. Remember, too, that depending on where they place their car relative to the car in front of them, then they can actually affect the handling of that car in front of them by spoiling the way air is coming off the back of the car. But look at Earnhardt. Earnhardt closes up behind Wilson and then has to fall back as Wilson makes his move down to the inside. He is alongside Bill Elliott. Wilson alongside, pushes a nose just ahead. Will this be the first victory for Wilson? Elliott is alongside now. Elliott forges ahead, and Elliott with a nose just ahead of Wilson at the line as they touch, coming across to finish this race. Elliott wins the Firecracker with Wilson in 2nd place by inches.
Well, there was experience against youth. You saw Rick Wilson make his move. He did it a little bit soon, and Elliott still had the momentum he knew to be able to come up on the outside and pick him up by just a couple of feet at the finish line. What a finish.
Ernie Elliott and the crew, I think, somewhat uncertain as to how the finish actually occurred. But it was Bill Elliott out in front of Rick Wilson. Earnhardt finishes in 3rd.
Okay, he finished third. That's 2 third places. Okay. 2 third places for Phil Parsons this year.
Yeah, how are the points? Let's take a look at the finish one more time here. That is Rick Wilson on the inside to the right and Bill Elliott to the outside. Coming to the line, Wilson had it, and then Elliott just inched ahead at the line. At the same time, Parsons won the three-way battle for third place. Now, let's go to winner's circle to talk with Bill Elliott. Here's Jack Arute.
It was a gamble. Nobody had a car any better than anybody else. Praise the Lord for a safe day. Congratulations.
Well, Bill Elliott, you came from the back of the pack, but you had to stave off Rick Wilson. A lot of yellow paint on the car in that last lap.
Well, it got pretty hairy there at the end, but I knew he'd be the car to beat because with him behind me, I could run pretty good. The only thing he did was he made his move a little bit too early, and he didn't get a good enough run and go. But still, he almost beat me. If the finish line had been on at the exit of the trial, he'd have beat me. But you know, that's the way it goes. The car just picked up enough to pull back past him, and he wasn't able to pick it back up quick enough.
Hard work all day, or did you have a feeling that you were going to be able to take this one home?
About 100 laps in the race, I had no idea because I was almost a lap down. We blistered one tire. It seemed like what started out bad got worse, but then the last 50 laps, it just got better and better. When the 4 car got behind me and we saw we could run quick together, you know, then he helped me. That's all there was to it. He helped me to get to where I'm at.
Well, Jerry Punch is with the other combatant on that last lap. Jerry?
Well, red paint on the side of this Oldsmobile for Rick Wilson, the hometown driver from nearby Bartow. And Rick, did you make the move a little bit too early?
Well, I might have it. You know, the car was running awful good. Bill couldn't run a lick by itself, but I could run, with me and him hooked together, we could run real good. I just waited and waited the last lap, and I thought I'd made it, but I thought Earnhardt was going to go with me. That was my big mistake there. He's been going to the bottom, and I thought he would go, and if he did, I could have beat him. And I pulled up beside him, and until we got all close to the finish line, I thought I had him, but Ford just started pulling. But I want to say the Kodak Fan Oldsmobile team done a great job today. They kept me up front. The car worked great, and this is our best finish, and just thank the Lord for a safe race.
Rick Wilson finishing second here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's not as much fun to come to Daytona and race as it used to be. Restrictors, there's too much controversy in them. They're, you know, some people maybe getting by with something, maybe not. NASCAR says they're not, but you know, there's always room to cheat there or let somebody by with something. If they's all racing the same thing, open competition type thing on the motors, it'd be hard to cheat. Just ever who got the best motor would run. So, you know, I'm really not for the restrictor plate. It's not no fun racing the cars with them on there too.
His 26th Winston Cup race, followed by Wilson, Parsons, Earnhardt, and Waltrip. There were 21 different lead changes among 9 different drivers and 3 cautions for 17 laps. Dale Earnhardt actually led the most laps, 52, but Bill Elliott was in front at the finish of the race, followed by Rick Wilson. And Rusty Wallace wins the $150,000 at the mid-season Winston Cup bonus winner by finishing 12th. So it is Bill Elliott that is the winner of the day at the Firecracker 400. Now let's send you back to Frank Gifford.